Alright guys, so welcome to the last lesson, lesson 3. If you've made it this far, well done, congratulations. If you are one of the people that has completed all the work, I'm very, very proud of you. If you're watching this and you haven't completed everything yet, you still have time, you still have a few days. I'm going to delete everything at the end of the week. So what we're going to do is very, very, very important. A lot of people think that the main body paragraph and the introduction, those are the two really important parts, and they neglect the fact that you have to finish off your essay well. So this involves writing a conclusion, but also involves something really, really important, which is checking your work and proofreading and making sure you've got everything there that you need to do, and making sure that you're minimizing your mistakes as much as possible. So there's no point in producing a great introduction and a great main body paragraph, but then your conclusion's poor and you've got lots of little mistakes, because those little mistakes all add up. And for many of you, the difference between, let's say, a 6.5 and a 7 is very small. And by focusing on these areas, it can mean the difference between a 6.5 and a 7. So today we're going to look at what is a conclusion, and we're going to look at how to write a conclusion. Then we're going to look at proofreading and checking. These are two slightly different things. We're going to give you a checklist of things that you need to have done in your essay, and you can do this at the end of your test. And we're also going to look at time management a little bit. We're going to look at a demo, going to show you what to do, and then it will be your turn to write your full essay. So we're going to give you a completely different question to do. A double question, but on a different topic, so that you can apply all of the different things that you have learned this week, and that you can activate that knowledge, do the thing, and then I'll give you feedback later today. Okay, so one question that you should ask yourself, and one question that a lot of you have been asking me in various different ways, is, does this stuff actually work? Does the stuff that you teach actually work? Is it effective? As many of you have been taught maybe the complete opposite to what I have been telling you. And I'm not offended by these questions whatsoever. In fact, you should be asking this of any IELTS teacher. And any IELTS teacher who you ask this to, and you criticize them in small ways, or ask them, does this stuff actually work? They should welcome those questions. A teacher shouldn't criticize students but then not be able to take criticism themselves, or be examined by students. So thank you for those questions, and I'm not going to do what all the other IELTS teachers do, which is just say, I'm right, I know best, you're a student, I'm a teacher, listen to me. I'm not going to do that. What I do with everyone when they ask me these questions is I say, just judge me on my students' results. So I'm going to show you just some of the results today, just today, from my VIP course. So these are results that have come in the last 8 hours. So you can see the timestamps on them and everything, just in the last 8 hours. These are just some of the results. So this person just got my IELTS results and wanted to thank Christopher Pell and his team for their effort and suggestions. So they got overall band 8. Thank you so much, Christopher Pell. My writing score increased to 7.5 from 6.5 in a month, and they got, what did they get overall? 7.5. Next person finally achieved the score I needed in academic module. I don't know how to thank you, Christopher Pell. Overall, they got a band 8. Next person, woohoo, I got 7 in writing. Wasn't confident enough in myself, thank you, Chris. So they jumped from 5.5 to a band 7 in about a month. Next person, finally got my desired score. Thank you, Chris, for your support. Overall, band 8. And the next person, seems to be a great day that most of our academy students have got their desired scores. I've also achieved my score of a band 7. Okay, so don't judge me on the things that I say, judge me on the results that I get. I'm not going to talk about those anymore, but hopefully that proves to you that the stuff that I'm talking about works. Those are just 6 people in the last 8 hours. Most IELTS schools do not have 6 people with those results in the last 6 months. So hopefully that proves a few things to you guys. Okay, so What have we achieved so far this week? We've looked at how to write an effective introduction, we've looked at how to write effective main body paragraphs, and now we're going to complete our essay with how to write a conclusion and check our essay at the end. So let's have a look at the question. Nowadays, more tasks at home and work are being performed by robots. Why do you think this is happening? Is it positive? Is it a positive or negative development? And this was the introduction that I showed you. Just to clear something up, many of you said, why did you use robotics when you told us that robotics was not allowed? You couldn't change AI to robotics. I'm not changing AI. I'm changing robots to robotics. So again, guys, be very careful to understand the actual question and read the question before jumping to conclusions. Alright, so what is a conclusion? This is where we state our opinion. So before we move on, many of you might be like, oh, what? Opinion? We're not doing opinion essays. What is he talking about? Don't worry, we'll discuss that. This is where we summarize our main ideas. So the two primary things that a conclusion is it's a summary of your main ideas, and it's a clear statement of what you think about the question, your opinion, or another way to say your position. So the conclusion is your position plus a summary of your main ideas. Read any academic paper, any academic journal, and you'll be able to find the main points in the introduction and the conclusion. The best advice that I ever received from a teacher was from my old high school science teacher. And he used to give us, he was an amazing teacher, and he was always pushing us to go further and to learn more. And he's a very inspirational guy, and taught me a lot about science and about teaching. And he used to give us university level scientific academic journals, and we would look at them and say like, oh, these are like thousands and thousands of words long. How will we ever learn this? His name was Mr. Rafferty, and he said, easy. What you do is you read the introduction, then skip everything else, and then just read the conclusion. By reading the introduction and the conclusion, you will understand everything in that journal article, because that is where everything is summarized and stated, and everything is very clear and easy to understand, and you don't need to read the rest of it. And that was the best advice I ever got, because it meant that I did really well in university, because when I looked at journal articles, I would just read the introduction, read the conclusion, and it was very easy for me to understand everything in it. This is why you need to write a good introduction and conclusion, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to, the introduction is, hello, Mr. Reader, Mrs. Reader, this is what we're going to discuss. Conclusion, hello, Mrs. Reader, Mr. Reader, this is what I just discussed. A summary of everything. But there's no opinion, so many of you might be asking, like, we didn't do opinion questions, we just did double questions. So if you think about it, every single question on the IELTS Writing Task 2 paper is asking for your opinion, asking for your position on something. Let's think about this for a second. Imagine you get a question that says, what are the advantages and disadvantages? What they're asking you is asking you, what do you think? What do you think the advantages are? What do you think the disadvantages are? In other words, what is your opinion on the advantages and disadvantages? If they ask you, what are the problems and solutions? What they're asking you is, what do you think are the problems? What do you think are the solutions? So every single question might not be asking you for your opinion, so asking you, you know, in my opinion, I think this. By stating what you think the advantages and disadvantages, problems and solutions, answering the double questions, you're stating what you think about something, and that's what you need to do in your conclusion. If you got a double question like this, why is this? That's asking for your opinion. Is it a positive or negative development? That's asking for your opinion. It's asking for your position on, do you think this is a positive or negative development? So once you start to understand that, the questions become much easier and more straightforward. So there's three elements to a good conclusion. A cohesive device, which is a linking word, your opinion, in other words, your position, what you think about the question or questions, and a summary of your main ideas. That's all it is. Okay, so let's look at each of these um, elements in more detail. Cohesive device. You're only going to write one conclusion in your IELTS writing test, so learn just one way to start your conclusion. Some students that I work with say, can you give me 10 different ways to start a conclusion? It's like, why? Why? That would be a complete waste of your time and waste of, your brain can only store a certain amount of information. You're only going to write one conclusion, so just learn one or two ways to start your conclusion. And those are, in conclusion, to conclude. You don't get any extra marks for writing anything fancier than that. So why would you learn 10 or 12 different ways to write, in conclusion? Also, don't ask me in the comments, how about this way? Or how about this way? Or can we do it this way? Can we do it that way? The reason why I'm saying don't do that is you only have a certain amount of time before you start writing your test. The clock is ticking between now and you doing your test. Don't waste time on things that don't matter. The other 10 ways that you can start your conclusion do not matter. Just focus on what actually matters and ignore all the things that do not matter. And that will mean that you're spending all your time focusing on things that will actually improve your score, and you're not wasting your time on anything else. Now you're going to reiterate your opinion. Reiterate means state again, because you've already stated your position or your opinion in the introduction. Now you're going to state it again. Number one, do not worry about repetition. Many of you have been saying to me over and over and over again, my teacher says you can't repeat anything. My teacher says you can't repeat anything. Okay, if they say that to you, number one, say, why does Chris get all these really, really high marks? Are they fake? Is he lying to us? Or maybe you have not understood the official marking criteria. This is the official marking criteria. This is what the examiners use in every single country, in every single sentence, or center, sorry. And what does it say here? Presents a clear position throughout the response. Throughout. Presents a clear position, in other words, opinion, throughout the response. So not just in one place, throughout the response. So maybe your teacher is correct and I'm wrong, and the official IELTS marking criteria is wrong. I'll let you decide which one is, who is correct and who's not correct. So paraphrasing. Do not worry about repeating your main ideas again, but this does not mean that you can copy the same words. So you have already stated your position in the introduction. If you don't understand this, go back and look at the introduction module, the introduction video. So we take our main ideas from the introduction and we paraphrase them. This makes it extremely simple to write a conclusion and ensures that your position is clear throughout the whole essay. And again, some of you might be saying, but I don't know how to paraphrase. If you don't know how to paraphrase yet, you're not ready to get the score that you really want yet. You will get there eventually, but saying, I want a high IELTS score, but I don't want to paraphrase, that's like me saying, I want to buy a Ferrari, but I don't want to spend any money. What you want and the price that you have to pay, you have to pay a price for everything you want. That price could be money. Like if I want a Ferrari, I have to pay money. For you guys, the what you want is a high IELTS score. The price that you have to pay is work and effort and sometimes money by seeking out someone who can show you exactly what to do. There's a price to be paid for everything. Summary of main ideas. Someone should be able to read your conclusion only and tell you what your main ideas are. So somebody should be able to look at your writing, your essay, ignore the introduction, ignore the main body paragraphs, and just focus on the conclusion and tell you exactly what you just wrote about, exactly what your main points are, exactly what your whole essay is about. Again, don't worry about repeating your main ideas, but you just paraphrase. You must paraphrase. This will make the conclusion easy to write and ensure you summarize your main ideas. So here's a demonstration of that. Okay, so here is my introduction. Robotics increasingly play a role both in the home and the workplace. So that was the question being paraphrased. Okay, that was the very first sentence. This is occurring because of advancements in technology. So that is my opinion plus my main idea. This is occurring because of advancements in technology. That's my position on the first question, and that's my main idea also. And it should be seen as a positive development, that is my opinion, because it reduces a person's workload. That's my main idea. So what the question is about, my position on it, my main ideas are all in the introduction. Now we need to just take this and we need to create a conclusion. Let's see how we've done this. In conclusion, machines carry out tasks for us due to the fact that engineers and computer scientists are pushing the boundaries of science and engineering. And these innovations should be welcomed because they emancipate humankind from routine toil. I used a lot of really high-level vocabulary in there, guys, because many of you were asking for this and saying that the stuff that I was writing was too simple. Another reason why I don't use like really high-level vocabulary is it makes it really difficult for you guys to understand it. Many of you might be looking at this and going like, routine toil? Emancipate? What does that mean? I mean, this is way beyond a band 9. You do not need to use vocabulary at this level. But for you guys that are complaining that my work is too simple, there you go. Always check the question again. So you should be going back to the question. You should be thinking about the question. You should be thinking about your introduction. Does it match up? Does it answer the question? Then your conclusion. Okay, does it match up with the question? Does it match up with the introduction? Does it mean the same thing? And then you're done. Remember, the examiner should be able to look at your conclusion only and understand that you've understood the question, that you have a clear position, and what your main ideas are to support that position. Do that and you'll write an excellent conclusion. But that's not the end of your journey. You need to proofread. Why do you need to proofread? Number one, everyone makes mistakes, guys. Everyone. Every single time I write an essay, I make mistakes. Every single time I do a lesson like this one, I make mistakes. I have to proofread it. Every single person on planet Earth has to proofread. So if Oxford professors or Cambridge professors need to proofread, then you probably need to do that too. I make crucial errors every single time I write something. You make multiple crucial errors in multiple sentences every time you write. This is not oh, I'll do this if I have time. This is not an option. It's an absolute necessity. You need to do this if you're going to get a high score. So how to proofread? You should proofread 3 times. Once at the end of each sentence, then once again at the end of each paragraph, and then once again at the end of each essay. So when you write your sentence, full stop, read it. Is it grammatically correct? Is the vocabulary correct? That's what you should be asking yourself. We're going to talk about all the other things you need to worry about at the end. That's what you should be thinking about. Then, once you finish your paragraph, skip a line and look back at your paragraph. How's my grammar? How's my vocabulary? Does it make sense? Then at the end of your whole essay, read it all again, check it all again. So many of you might be thinking, I don't have time to do this, Chris. I barely get, you said that I have to, plan everything, then write everything, then check everything, then proofread at the end. I just don't have time to do this. Unless you have time to do this, you won't be able to get the score you need. You're not going to be able to do this through time management tips or time management techniques or anything like that. Have a look at this. Look at the guys. Look at the behind Usain Bolt. Look at how bad these guys are at time management. Alright, so do these guys need time management tips? Or do they need to run a bit faster? This is exactly like this is someone getting a band 9, and this is everybody getting, 6, 6.5. You do not need to work on your time management. You need to work on your grammar, your vocabulary, your task response, your coherence and your cohesion. You need to work on task 1, you need to work on task 2, you need to work on introductions, main body paragraphs, conclusions, planning, proofreading, all of these things. Once you master all of these things, you'll be like Usain Bolt. Until you master all those things, you'll be like these guys, struggling to catch up. Is this impossible? No, it's not impossible. As you've seen, all the results that I just showed you, every single one of those people that are celebrating today that because they got the results that they needed, all of those people were in exactly the same position as you are today. They had the same fears, they had the same doubts, but the difference between them and all of the people today who failed is they actually took action and improved themselves. So how are you going to proofread? As with everything I teach, you should be thinking of one thing and one thing only. What does the examiner want? You should only be looking for mistakes that the examiner will pick up on. As with everything I teach, you should also be thinking strategically. Focus on your areas of weakness and get proper feedback on your work. So we've had lots of students over the years, and every student is different. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. Some students might really need work on articles, another on prepositions, another on tenses, another on vocabulary collocations, another on spelling, another on introductions, another and any combination of those things. Becoming aware of the main reasons why you are getting 6 or 6.5 and not getting the score that you need is the most important first step to proofreading your essay. Because if you don't understand those things, you don't really know what you're looking for. If you have an expert giving you feedback on your writing, you know the things because they'll constantly, like when I send back essays to our VIP students, it's just a sea of red. They just see red everywhere. Fix this, do this, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And that's not me being overly critical. It's just to be honest with them and open with them and show them these are the things you need to improve. And then when they're in the real exam, they'll be looking out for those things. So here are some of the things that you should be looking at when you're proofreading. Word count. Did you go over the word count? Did you answer the question? Is your message clear? Is it how you answered the question? What you think about the question? Your position? Is it clear? Are your points consistent? In other words, does your introduction, main body paragraphs, and conclusion, do they match up? Is your position clear throughout the essay? Did you develop your main ideas, or do you just have lots of ideas that are undeveloped? How's your grammar range and accuracy? How's your vocabulary range and accuracy? How did you use cohesive devices? How's your paragraphing? These are just some of the things that you should be thinking about. These things should be at the top of your mind, so what you're actually thinking about when you're preparing, when you're practicing, when you're planning, when you're writing, when you're proofreading. So it's not proofreading starts, months before you even think about booking your test, because you want to minimize the amount of proofreading you have to do, and you do that by starting today, by preparing properly. And then when you're practicing, think about your weaknesses. When you're planning on exam day, think about the things that you need to do. When you're writing, think about how do I give the examiner exactly what he or she wants. And then when you're proofreading, your proofreading's easy, guys, because you're just looking at it and going, okay, just checking off I know that I've prepared properly and I practiced and I've got feedback on my work and I know exactly what to do, and yeah, good. I'm going to get the score that I need, move on with my life, and forget about Chris Pell and IELTS and all this silly stuff, so that you can just, move on with your life and get over this obstacle, and leave me to worry about IELTS. Alright guys, so this is your turn to put into practice everything you've learned this week. Artificial intelligence will soon replace teachers in the classroom. Do you agree with this statement? What is an alternative to traditional face-to-face teaching? Write the whole essay using everything you've learned to write a Band 7 essay. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. I'm going to give you feedback on this in about 4 hours at 5 p.m. UK time. So if you have time to do this before then, great. If you don't have time today, what I would suggest is, take a little time over the weekend to think about what you have to do, maybe review the modules, and you can do it over the weekend, guys. Don't think that I'm going to, be upset if you don't get it done in 4 hours. I know that you guys have different things in your life apart from this. And many of you have also been asking me about how to take things to the next level, how to work with me on reading or listening or task 1 or the other task 2 questions or speaking, or just how to continue working with me throughout the week. Out of respect for the people that just want free information, I haven't spoken about this, but IELTS VIP, because we've had so many great results today, some of those positions have opened up. We only work with a very, very, very small number of students because we care more about whether our students get the scores that they need than about money. If we just cared about money, we would take everybody, but that's not how I want to operate my business, because we treat everyone how we would want a member of our family to be treated, as we've talked about today. So that will open again tomorrow. As I said, we only allow a very small number of people to join our courses, so if you're interested, please don't leave it too late, because we'll have to put you on a very long waiting list if we don't get you in tomorrow. We have to keep numbers low to keep standards high, and you've seen this week what happens when we don't. So this week, because there's so many people, 15,000 people, we can't give you individual feedback. We can't give you the individual attention that you deserve. What we're going to do in the VIP course, and what we've done for years, is we give you all the help and support you need on an individual basis. So there's 15,000 people in this group. We only currently have 24 VIP places available. There are 15,000 of you, and we've already had hundreds of emails from people asking us about the VIP course. So if you're interested, what I'll do is I'll create a video telling you everything about it so that you know exactly what to do and what it is, and I'll post that tomorrow at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m. tomorrow, UK time, I'll post that so you can join us then, and I'll open the doors for VIP at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and you can watch the video and make a decision. So I'll post the video at 9 a.m. tomorrow showing you everything you need to know and how to join. You will only be able to join then. Email me if you have any questions. So email me if you want to know anything about joining the VIP course, and I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you so much, guys. It was an absolute pleasure teaching 15,000 people this week. It's pretty amazing what we can do with technology these days. I really hope that helped you improve your IELTS writing, gave you insights into what you need to do and what you shouldn't be doing. And for some of you, I look forward to working with you more in the future. From myself, from my family, from my team, thank you very much, guys. I truly appreciate your time and your trust, and I hope that we said at the start of the week that we won't let you down, that putting your time and your trust into us, we really value that, and I hope that you guys have we've been able to do that. We've been able to help you. My brain's starting to shut down because of a lot of work, so I'm going to go before I stop mumbling. Alright, guys, thank you very much. See you again soon. Bye bye.